Today we are back on Forza 7. So what I'm going to do today is a Hypercar showdown. So on the last game, Forza 6, a channel called Fail Race did a Hypercar showdown as well, and along with a lot of other classes. But I figured because there's now 20 Hypercars on this game, I may as well try one for myself. Of course, on his one, I think there was only 12 or so. So you can see new cars such as the Koenigsegg Regera and also the Aston Martin Vulcan. So it's going to be quite interesting. We're going to do a reverse grid order around Catalonia and then see which one comes out on top. So yeah, let's jump right in. So here we are. You can see the Pagani Hurra starting at the front, along with quite a lot of other cars. You got the Regera there. You got another Pagani. You got quite a few new cars as well. I mean, you got the Lycan Hypersport, which was there in the last game, but you also got cars like the GTA Spano. So you can see all of the cars setting off. So this is just the order they're going to start. But you can see off the start already, the Aston Martin Vulcan has been swamped, and you can see that's actually the Regera, who's taken both the Pagani Huayra BC and the Aston Martin Vulcan. So you actually have a look on board with the Regera's start. I mean, it's got crazy straight line speed, and off the line it gains what will be 3 positions. You see, it blitzes past one Pagani, I think that's the Zonda R, then it blitzes past the Aston Martin and the Zonda. But you can see as we go back, you can see some more of the P-class cars are making their way through the field. That was the Ultima, which got a position now. And you can see the Zonda R is going to try to make a move, but he's actually going to get overtaken around the outside of the FXK. I mean, that the Ferrari having a lot of downforce is actually going to go straight up the inside of the Vulcan, who's actually been falling back off the start. So even though I had a 1 second delay between each car, you can see the P-class cars are ripping through the field. I mean, you saw the FXK has gained 3 positions in a few corners, but now it's going to come back under attack from the McLaren P1 GTR, and the P1 GTR is actually going to get the position, or is he? Because they're going to go side by side, but the P1 GTR actually holds it and goes round the outside of the McLaren P1. So yeah, of course, the P1, the road legal version of the GTR, but the GTR having much more grip. But you can see it's sort of a train going on, but you can see the Ultima and the McLaren all getting past quite a few cars, and even the Hennessy, which is well known for the straight line speed, it's been overtaken by the Ultima. And you can see the Regera in the background also overtaking the Hennessy, but you can see the Ultima gets a few more moves, and meanwhile the Hennessy, you can see again is overtaken by the Regera, and you can see the Veneno's now being overtaken by the FXK. So the P-class cars are already making their way towards the front, as to be expected really, because they've just got the straight line speed and cornering grip over some of these R-class hypercars. But here we are now. You can see already out in the lead is the Ultima. So he's in a matter of a lap or so, he's managed to overtake about 20 odd cars, and of course a few have pitted because it's compulsory that they all do 3 stops. But you can see that the Regera has actually made a mistake, and he's going to have to rejoin at the back of the field. And yet, I forgot to add this is the AI, unbeatable AI. So yeah, you might see some quite weird driving, because of course I don't have 20 friends who have the game, so it's to make it a fair sort of experiment, I've done unbeatable AI. But you can see the Koenigsegg Regera, after gaining so many positions, has dropped right to the back now. Meanwhile, you can see the Zonda R's pitted and come out right behind what will be the Porsche 911, who's Porsche 918 Spider, which is doing quite well. Meanwhile, if we just flick through the field, you can see there's a battle going on between the Lycan and another one of the Paganis. I mean, there's 4 racing in total. You can see I think it's there's Regera. He's recovered back to a decent position, but you can see now the Vulcan already has been caught back up by the Regera, so it just shows how quickly it is. And you can see he's been overtaken by 2 cars in that mini straight alone. I mean, it's got lots of downforce, but you can see it can't match the sheer power of some of these cars. You can see the Regera has just got about 4 cars. 1 on the mini straight, and he's got another 3 down that slightly longer straight. He's got another car as well, so that makes it up to 5. Is he going to get a 6th? Well, you can see there's the Spaniard going side by side with the Ferrari FXK, but actually the Regera's going to try to hold it around the outside, but just doesn't have the grip, so it's just going to peel off into the pits. Meanwhile, you can see the Hennessy Venom unleashing the straight line speed, and you can see that gaining on the Lycan Hypersport. He's actually going to go for a move, but will it be able to hold it? Actually gets tagged, and it doesn't have the downforce at all. But out of nowhere, the Ultima is just basically gone around the outside of both of them. So an impressive move there from the Ultima, and I think he's already pitted, so he's already a pit stop ahead of some of these cars, which is quite incredible considering that he started towards the back. Meanwhile, you can see there's the Ferrari LaFerrari The Koenigsegg 1-1, that's a car which I haven't actually mentioned. It's actually the highest PI car, along with the FFXK. See, it's made quite a few positions. Meanwhile, the Porsche, and you can see there's quite a train of people which have already pitted. Meanwhile, the FFXK is already pitted and has come out behind the Aston Martin Vulcan. But you can see it just doesn't have the straight line speed, even to overtake the Vulcan, which is probably the slowest car on the grid. But the cornering speed of the FFXK is incredible. So I'm sure that will make its way through the field. You can see the Zonda overtakes the Huara BC. Meanwhile, we've got more action. So with 20 hypercars on the grid, all the fastest ones starting at the back, we've had a lot of action so far. And you can see the Hennessy was under attack, but the straight line speed is going to help it, and he's actually going to close back in on the like in Hypersport. You can see now the Spania, I think GTA is going to be, well, he's going to defend from the Zonda, but the Zonda just has quite a lot of grip, and the Zonda is going to drive on the outside. So here are now the FFXK is going to get both of them under braking. So that's what I was saying. Doesn't have the straight line speed, but definitely has the grip. And he's also going to maybe have a look at the Zonda. No, not quite having a look at the Zonda, but surely it's only a matter of time. As you can see, he's actually already going for a move. The Zonda's going to give him space, but the Ferrari not able to make a move, but he's going to dive up the inside of the Zonda. And that Ferrari FXK has amazing brakes. So the Hennessy's going to come out into the attack now. You can see the straight line speed means nothing if it can't actually defend its position under braking. But that's the FFXK up a few positions as well. But he's already attacking the LaFerrari, which of course is the road legal version of the FXK. So surely he'll be able to get past. But like earlier, he's actually just chosen to keep out of pit again. You can see the 1-1 is another car which is pit early, so to try to come out ahead of quite a lot of the traffic, because of course if you're stuck behind some of the slower cars you can lose a lot of time. Meanwhile, this is the Regera who's caught up to the back of the Lykan Hypersport and the LaFerrari, and it's going to dispatch them easily. He only has one gear, so its acceleration isn't great, but once it gets up to even half its top speed, it's absolutely unstoppable. I think only the 1-1 can rival it in the straight line, and of course the long straight at Catalonia really suits that. But you can see, as we look towards the back, we can see the Veneno, the Agera, and the Veyron struggling. I think they've pitted a few times as well, but you can see behind them there's the Huayra, and also I think, yeah, right at the back is, sorry, near the front, sorry, is Hennessy. I don't think he's pitted yet. You can see now the LaFerrari is pressuring the Lykan Hypersport. So the LaFerrari is a faster car, so it should be able to get past. But you can see he's got the Zonda for company, so the Zonda should be able to make its way past. You can see as the LaFerrari gets quite a bad run, this might allow the Zonda, even though the Zonda is not the best in the straight line, but you can see it's actually faster than the LaFerrari. Of course, LaFerrari is slower than the McLaren P1, and it's not really the fastest, but again, he's going to defend his position violently, but he's going to go deep. He's going to again cut across, but this time the Zonda is going to go around the outside, and that's the second time he's done a move around the outside of that corner, so quite impressive there. Meanwhile, back onto the Regera. Actually, we're going to go back to get a flick for a few more cars. You can see the P1. Also, we haven't seen him much, but here we're back onto the 1-1, and you can see he's doing quite well. Meanwhile, the Ultima has blitzed through the field, and he's already back near the front after making a pit stop. And you can see also the 1-1 isn't far behind him as well. So pitting early has definitely been the wise choice. You can see it's right behind the Agera, which of course is the old version, and he's going to go around the outside. So although it's really bad he has bad downforce, the 1-1, it's got better downforce than the Agera, which is why it's so much better in PI. But you can see now there's a few more battles going through the field. The Zonda just definitely seems the best of the rest right now, but the P-Class Hypercars just seem too fast right now. You can see now that FFXK is pressuring the back of the Regera, who's amazingly managed to get back in front of the FFXK after having that mistake, but you can see why. He manages to get two cars on the straight, so that's incredible. Meanwhile, you can see the FFXK, the Regera is in the distance now, and the Regera is going to overtake another car up ahead, and he's going to also go up the inside of another car, which is the Lykan Hypersport. So the FFXK now is already getting the pit stop on his road legal version, but here we are now, he's going to overtake him, and that is, I don't know what position the FFXK is up to, but they're all near the front now. You can see the Regera is caught up to the back of the Zonda, so the Zonda's been doing quite well, but will it be able to hold off on the Regera? The Regera's actually going to get him under brakes, not even in the straight line, but he actually gets tagged again and nearly goes off like he did before. You can see that's allowed the FFXK to catch up, so the Zonda's bring up much more of a fight than the other cars. I mean, you can see they're going side by side. The FFXK nearly got the Regera, but surely the Regera is going to get him in the straight line. And although the FFXK's got him, here comes the Regera. He's actually parked up behind him. He can't actually find a gap, but now he has found a gap. He's managed to get both of them in a very short space. of track. So he just shows you the speed, and he's just gone up into the distance. So there's nothing much the Zonda and the FFXK could have done, but you can see the FFXK has done the Zonda's favourite move on the Zonda. Meanwhile, up at the front, we got the Ultima and the Koenigsegg. They've both made quite a few pit stops, but you can see the Ultima's hassling, I think, the Harara, and I think some of these cars are already getting lapped by the Hypercars. You can see now the Regera sort of in the land of his own right now, but of course we don't really know the exact order because so many cars are pitting. I mean, in the next race we're not going to do a pit stop race, so it should be more easy to keep track of the cars. But you can see you've got the Agera at the back struggling, along with the Veneno and the Veyron. But I mean, the Veyron was also always going to struggle, along with probably the AM Vulcan. So I mean, that's not the fastest in a straight line. Meanwhile, you can see the Spanier and what will be the one of the Haras, one of the Paganis, sorry, battling it out. Meanwhile, the Hennessy is also in no man's land. But you can see that is the Koenigsegg rushing past, I think, the LaFerrari. So I don't know if it's the LaFerrari, but I know it's definitely ahead of him on track because he probably made more pit stops. You can see now there's a battle for what will be, I think, second place because the Ultima has pit. So the Koenigsegg 1-to-1's in the lead, but you can see the Regera, the McLaren P1 GTR, and the Ultima all battling for second. But I think the Regera hasn't pitted yet, but it's done well considering that he was last on lap 3 after making a mistake. It's actually come back through the field strongly. So if he's just flicked through a few more cars. See now this is the Bugatti, and he's going to get hounded by the Regera. I mean, the Bugatti is probably the worst car in a straight in the corners. Very fast in a straight line, but it just doesn't really have the acceleration to keep up with some of these cars. And you can see the battle for second is really hotting up now as they finally passed the Veyron. Yeah, some of these fastest cars like the Hennessy and the Veyron seem to be overtaken in the straight line by some of these cars. So I don't know if that's I don't know why that's happening, but you would have thought they would be able to hold a bit more in the straight line. But meanwhile, you can see at the front you got the two Koenigseggs. So from the back of the grid, they've come quite far, and you can see the top 5 are now all P-class cars. So they all started at the back, but now you can see they're coming to the front. Another car which is doing quite well is the Zonda R. Looks like he's sort of best of the rest right now. Also, the Lycan's doing quite well, and followed by the LaFerrari. So LaFerrari hasn't actually been able to get past the Lycan yet. As you can see, there's a battle on between the Hennessy, which is really fast in the straight line, and the Vulcan. The Vulcan's going to try to hassle him, because of course he's got the downforce over the Hennessy. But you can see now the Hennessy is right behind what will be one of the Paganis. So here we go in a straight line, and he's just going to completely obliterate the Pagani. So you can see actually behind, I think that's the P1 GTR and the Ultima battling it out, and you can see the Ultima's actually lost out. So the Ultima's down to he's lost another position to the P1 GTR. So yeah, I think he's down to 4th on track, but I don't know if that's second overall, or I don't know what position that is overall. Meanwhile, you can see the Koenigsegg is lapped 6th place, which is actually the 918 Spider. I mean, it's quite a quiet race, but he's been doing really well to keep it in 6th. Meanwhile, you can see the Regera blitzes past the Agera, the older counterpart, and you can see the FFXK is not too far back. So yeah, the FFXK is in 5th, but of course will be quite close with the Regera when the Regera actually pits, because of course I think Regera is doing one more pit stop. You can see actually the Regera is right behind the FFXK, so the Regera has made his pit stop. You can see the Veneno is going to get shuffled out of the way, and is actually going to go into the wall. But meanwhile, well, he's going to rejoin behind the Regera. Meanwhile, you can see the Ultimas are lapping some cars, but this is the battle we're focused on. The battle for 4th is actually hotting up, because you see the FFXK has bullied the Veyron out of the way. That's actually going to allow the Regera to get an absolute run on the FFXK, and it's just gone off into the distance. The straight line speed on that car is insane. If you just flick through a few more of the P-class runners, you can see still in 6th place is the Porsche 918 Spider, so doing really well considering it's not one of the highest PI cars. Has actually been doing quite well for himself. The Zonda R has made another pit stop, so now it finds himself behind some of the other cars. You can see there's a Zento ST1, we haven't actually seen him much, and like in Hypersport. But yeah, so many hypercars in this game, which is quite incredible. But of course we'll be doing a few more races after this, but yeah, you can see the Veyron at the back. He's going to get lapped by the 1-to-1 for probably the second time, and yeah, it's not much of a fight, the Veyron, really. I mean, he's slower in the straight line than the 1-to-1, and he's much slower in the corners. Meanwhile, you can see the 918 Spider still doing quite well, and the Veneno actually catching up to the Agera now, so after making that mistake a few laps earlier, he's caught up, and you can see the Pagani Huayra started at the front, but he's already getting lapped by the Regera and the FFXK, which has breezed past it in a straight line. But it's catching up to the Vulcan, so that should be quite a good fight. Meanwhile, after losing position to the P1 GTR, I mean, the Ultima's been able to keep with him. I mean, he's one of the lower P-class cars, and you can see now the battle for fourth is still actually quite close, but you can see the Regera gets quite a bit of a lead of the FFXK, who bullies himself past the Road Eagle version, the LaFerrari. But you can see, yeah, the FFXK is going to try to get past the Zento ST1, but you can see he's lost a lot of time to the Regera. I mean, the Regera just has that straight line speed, which just allows him to get past. And you can see now there's a Huayra BC in the Chincre Roadster, which you're going to now let. So to conclude, the final order will be the 1-1, the TGR, then we got the Ultima, the Regera, the FFXK, the Porsche doing well in 6th. Then it's the, well, you just look through the orders there, and this is the order they're going to finish in. I mean, unfortunately the replay system couldn't capture the whole race, so a few cars still had to make pit stops, and also I set the timer to 2 minutes at the end, so some of the cars didn't actually finish the race because they were so far. Basically the P-class cars were so fast. But yeah, you can see actually yeah, this is just showing the Porsche actually pits, so it's actually going to fall to 7th. But of course this is where the replay cuts out, so yeah, you can see it's taking us back to the beginning. So that's all it really recorded up to, but it was a really action-packed race, and we're just actually going to go on board with the 1-1. So this is him on lap 1, gaining quite a few positions. Of course, we weren't really got much on board with him, so we're just going to see how he was able to sort of had such a dominant lead over the field. You can see gaining on the LaFerrari now. He's probably going to get quite a few cars in the straight, but actually peels into the pits. So this is what I was saying. This is probably a risky call for the 1-1 because, of course, it burns through its fuel really quickly. So the fact that it's, well, pitting so early means that he's going to have to stretch his other stints, and otherwise he's going to have to make an extra pit stop. But I suppose by the end of the race, he was so far ahead, he probably could make an extra pit stop. Here we are now, just seeing it a bit later on. It sort of had quite a lot of clean air and came out quite a bit ahead of some of the other cars. You can see already gained a pit stop on the Veyron, which really suffered this race. But you can see as we follow it still, you can see how much it gains on the straight line. And it's got the Vulcan up ahead, so it's probably going to overtake it quite easily in the straight line soon. You can see it's going to try to go up the inside, but of course the 1-1 doesn't have the best downforce, but actually manages to get the Vulcan, and it's just going to use its power to zoom past. But you can see actually that's the GTR thing, which was in the wall. So considering the GTR was in the wall, it did quite well to come back to 2nd place. But you can see as we skip further on, you can just see how easily the 1-1 can overtake in the straight line. I mean, it passes them like the hot hatches. It's incredible, the speed. And yeah, just the Lycan didn't really stand much of a chance. It held on for quite a bit, but ultimately, yeah, the 1-1 is just going to get past. So that is the final grid order. You can actually see the 1-1 actually didn't win. So that's the final grid order. So it must have made a few more pit stops or something. But anyway, that is the part 1. Part 2 should be coming soon.